Hey everyone, welcome to a short segment of our bait shop video series. You know, this Saturday marks the opener for our early catch and release season for smallmouth bass here on Chequamegon Bay. Also, it's the start to our general inland game fish season in northern Wisconsin. So knowing that I needed to get ready, needed some items to put in the boat, replenish some stock of some different lures and stuff. So I'm here at River Rock Inn and Bait Shop today to do that. And I thought, well, while I'm here, why shouldn't I should put together a little short segment on showing people what works really good on our inland lakes and also here on Chequamegon Bay during these early season times. So what we'll touch on is some different lures and some different techniques to go with them lures. For one, smallmouth bass here on Chequamegon Bay, and then walleyes for our inland lakes. So starting with smallmouth here on Chequamegon Bay, the water temperature this year is going to be in that mid-40 range. So unlike last year, the majority of these fish are going to be very, very pre-spawn. Last year we had, mid-50s, almost a 60-degree water temperature. So it's kind of a drastic swing from year to year here. So like always, we fish these fish in the Chequamegon and the Sandcut areas on the far eastern side of Chequamegon Bay. Well, most of these fish, what's going to happen is these fish are going to be in the deeper stretches of them shallow bays. And being pre-spawn, these fish are going to be hungry. But knowing it's the spring, we're going to know that water temperature and the physical attributes of the weather are going to dictate how we fish these fish. So hopefully what we have is a warming trend, so the fish are a lot more aggressive, the water temperature is going up, and they really want to feed. So we'll talk about that aspect right now. And when that's going on, I really like to use search baits to get these fish going. And two of the best search baits that I found out here on Chequamegon Bay is one, the rattle trap or a lipless crankbait. Can be the regular Bill Lewis rattle trap, or it could be Berkeley Frenzy, it could be a Sabile, anything of that matter. Lipless crankbait. One really good color works good is this orange crawdad or red crawfish, they like to call it. A lot of different companies make it. The Bill Lewis rattle trap works really good. It's got a real high pitch rattle, and you can fling it out, reel it in real quick, and search for these pods of fish, because the bass are going to be moving in pods as well. Another good search bait that I like to use is a swim jig. Here, All Terrain Tackle makes this swim jig. There's other types of swim jigs out there from Strike King, Outcast. They all work pretty good out here. And it seems like this type of color, like Texas Craw or Pumpkin, something of that color works real good. Same thing, 1/4 ounce jig, even up to 1/2 ounce some of them are. And you just throw it out, steady retrieve, searching for them fish. So you're covering water, the fish are active, and you're finding these pods of fish, so then you can concentrate on them. You get 1 to 2 to bite, and then well, there's a school of fish here, and now I can slow down and catch more of these fish. On the same kind of aspect, I can use crankbaits to do that as well. I like to use a crankbait called Berkeley Flicker Shad. I use a number 7 size. I really like the Hollywood or the black silver color. But Rapala makes a lot of good crankbaits as well. One that works really good is this Rapala Minnow Wrap. Again, these are a steady retrieve type of bait to find these active fish. Now, in an area to slow down a little bit, kind of a medium paced retrieve bait where these fish are, but also in a search bait mode is what we call jerk bait fishing. Jerk bait fishing, you can think of suspending baits. These baits, when you pull them, they'll go into the water column, don't rise, they don't fall, neutral buoyant. So you can work them baits slow, or you can work them fast, depending on what the water temperature is doing during that pre-spawn phase. So again, Rapala makes some good baits like that. The Husky Jerk is a really good bait to use for that type of technique. Size 12 or size 10 are the best sizes out here. Gold, perch, and Fire Tiger work really good. Clown is pretty good too. And then you have the Rapala X-Rap. Again, size 10 and 8. When you get to the smaller size, the deeper diver can work really good when you're working in that 6 to 8 foot of water. The size 10, or I should say size 8, you know, the larger size, you know, you can get away with a shallow build X-Wrap because it's going to dive deeper. But when they want something smaller, you can downsize, like this is an 8, and you know, work it deeper with the deep build bait. And something to mention with that is, now the Husky Jerk is going to have a less erratic action than the X-Wrap. So if the water temperature is really rising, you'll go to the X-Wrap. If it's cooler, maybe try the Husky Jerk first, and then work the pattern from there. Lucky Craft makes good jerk baits. Smithwick Rogue makes a good jerk bait. The list can go on and on and on. Everyone has their preference, but these are baits that you can find here right at River Rock, you know, and you know, then have some expert advice behind it on how to use it from the people here in the bait shop. So now when it gets really cold, you're dealing with a cold front, one of the, you know, ways that we combat that is fishing soft plastics. Again, talking about jigs, you're using regular football jigs with, you know, either a small craw or a small twister tail or even a tube on it. Tube jigs work really good. This is where you're slowing down, really working the bottom, and triggering these fish into bite with a more negative type of presentation. And one of those types too is using a stick type of bait, like a Cinco, or what we have here is a Northland Slurpee. Awesome color here with the orange tail. It's actually, I don't recall what the actual color name is on here, but this color in the 5-inch Slurpee's dipstick worm works really good. It's kind of a pumpkin, has a little fleck in it with the orange tail. Now what I do when it's slow is I'll rig this either Carolina rig or Texas rig it, so it's working as a worm instead of how we normally think of these type of stick bait worms. We use as wacky rigging when the fish are in a little bit shallower water. But I'll put a weight on it, you know, so I can work it along the bottom. Creature baits work the same way, but these dipstick worms work really good for when you need to slow down. Again, tubes do the same thing, and also just regular football head jig worked along the bottom. Sometimes you downsize real small. One bait that works really good in that cold water, especially when you're having diminishing water temperature, is actually a hair jig. Northland makes a really good hair jig for that, and you just swim it very slowly to get them fish to bite that when the temperature is starting dropping and you're dealing with them cold front conditions. So I want to leave smallmouth bass with one of my most favorite techniques to cover water, but also it's a catch-all. It works good when the fish are active and when the fish are kind of neutral, and that's basically just swimming a jig. You know, basically you just get a ball-headed jig. You know, they make special types of jigs, but you can just use a regular lead-headed jig. Just use a curly tail jig, either 3-inch or 4-inch model. Berkeley Power Bait, Berkeley Gulp, they all make great products for that. You just cast that out and you just slowly swim it back to the boat. It's amazing how many fish you'll catch on just that simple technique. It's one of the techniques I always start out with when I'm smallmouth bass fishing. One of my clients always has that on. One usually always has a crankbait on. One usually always has a jerkbait on, so I can cover the bases of what the fish want for the day. Color wise, you want gold. Gold really works good. Perch really works good. That pumpkin, green pumpkin, stuff like that works really good. Seems like contrasting colors work good too. If you have a pumpkin body and, you know, maybe it's a lime green tail, or a pumpkin body and an orange tail, something like that, it seems to work really good as well. So natural colors seem to work really good out here just because the water is really clear. But yeah, that's smallmouth bass in a nutshell for the early season, and that type of bite will last right up into, you know, the mid 60-degree water temperatures for when then they start spawning. So let's talk a little bit about walleyes and walleyes in our inland lakes. You know, here right at the beginning of the season. I can tell you one thing, it's been a cold spring, but the fish have spawned. So I'll tell you, like Chequamegon, the Eau Claire chain, Pike Lake chain, even some of the smaller lakes around like Mineral, them type of lakes, these fish are going to be really, really active, and they're going to be shallow. They're going to be feeding because they just came off a spawn. These males are going to be still in the shallows near spawning areas, and you're going to want to cover water to find the most active fish. This is even when the water temperature is even dropping. These fish are still going to feed, but those fish may only feed during prime time, say right at sunlight or sun up and right at dusk. Where if you have a warming trend, they're going to be like this all day long. So what do we do to catch these fish? Well, my biggest friend when it comes to walleyes, and this has been for the past 5 years, has been Berkeley Gulp, and comes in a regular package or jugs like this, Berkeley Gulp Alive. I like the 2.5 to 3 inch model, the Berkeley Gulp Minnow, during this time of year. I pair it with either a 16th ounce jig or an 1/8 ounce jig, different sizes. 16th ounce when I can get away with it, 1/8 ounce if I have to beef up, if I'm dealing with wind or anything like that. So I take a 6 foot medium light jigging rod, pair it with 6-pound fire line, tie direct to the jig, take my Berkeley Gulp Minnow, cast in the shallow, and work it back quickly. I'm finding the active fish. So I'm just going down the shoreline near these spawning areas and finding the active fish. When I find them active fish, I know I can stay around that area, probably catch a few more. Nothing else, I can mark that spot on my GPS, know that I could probably come back later and catch some more active fish when they turn back on again. Just keep on going down the shoreline until I find the next batch. Same thing you can do with crankbaits, using number 5 flicker shad, or say a smaller Rapala, even a floater, a husky jerk, smaller size, and work them baits in the shallows for them active walleyes. Again, I can guarantee these fish are going to be active. It's early in the season. They're looking to feed again after the spawn, and it should be a good time for those people up here looking for walleyes. You know, a lot of people, they sit with live bait and they sit off in deeper water. That's fine. You'll probably catch some fish, and I suggest bringing some live bait in case the Berkeley Gulp doesn't work. But time and time again, early season, I found this Berkeley Gulp on a 16th or 1/8 ounce jig, working in them shallows, looking for new weeds that might be coming up, looking for spawning gravel, rocky areas where there's still going to be, where there might be some crayfish and some minnows up in there. That's what you're looking for. Fish are up there. It's warm. It's good stuff. What's even better is if you got a little bit of wind pushing in there, that makes it even better. So that's what you're gonna look for and use for when you're fishing for the early season walleyes. And that should last pretty much the whole month of May. As the weed growth starts coming up, follow that weed growth out, and they'll be following that weed line. New growth is good, attracts fish. In closing, one thing I suggest everyone do is get yourself a good paper map. I know we all have, most of us all have good GPS deals on our boats, and they got the chip right in them, shows all the contours. But it's good, these fishing hotspots map. Here's one for Chequamegon Bay. You can get it for Lake Chequamegon, the Eau Claire chain, Pike Lake chain. It's got some good tips on the back pages of different areas in the body of water that the map is for, showing you where to fish, how to fish, what time of year, all that kind of stuff. So it's like having a little guide in your back pocket for your do-it-yourselfers when you're coming up here. So get yourself fishing hotspots map here at River Rock, and it should complete your trip for these early season smallmouth trips and early season walleye trips to the inland waters. And anyone looking for a guide trip, myself, get a hold of me or Aaron Castern here from River Rock Inn, Chris Beeksma. He's also out here doing a lot of smallmouth. Aaron and I can go inland as well. We'll do some walleye stuff along with the smallmouth fishing here. You can get a hold of us through our websites or call River Rock, and they'll help you get a hold of us as well. But those are just some of the lures that you can pick up here at River Rock Inn. People here are helpful. They'll help you pick out the right types of lures that work out here. They have the best selection of live bait around, and also they got some really good amenities to their bait store as well. They've got great smoked fish, fresh fish. They got beer, they've got snacks, they got all that kind of stuff. Need a new rod and reel, they got all that as well. Need line, they have that. So stop here at River Rock Inn for your smallmouth bass and early season walleye needs. And until next time, good fishing. We'll see you on the water.